The Southeast Collision Conference was a hit, and we are wrapping up this series from the Southeast Collision Conference with the committee, the ones that planned it all. They're going to be talking about their takeaways. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Body Bangin', your podcast for all things body. Auto body, that is. And now, introducing Body Bangin's host, Mickey Woods of Mickey Woods Marketing. Mickey is a former auto collision center owner and is now a marketing and business development expert to shops across the globe.
Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Body Bangin' Podcast. I'm excited because we have been doing so many episodes from the Southeast Collision Conference, and I'm kind of sad also because we're coming to the end. We've had 19 to this point, amazing interviews from speakers, vendors, attendees from the Southeast Collision Conference. And today we are stoked because we have the conference committee. So welcome everybody to today's episode.
Hello.
Hey, Mickey.
Hey.
Hey, so first and foremost, we got to make sure we give a shout out because, as you guys know, Lombard Equipment sponsored this segment of the podcast at the Southeast Collision Conference, and they were a great supporter at the event as well. So shout out to Lombard Equipment. If y'all need equipment, Lombard is the company you need to contact. They service the whole East Coast, but they're willing to talk to anybody. We also did an interview with them, which was incredible, talking about buying equipment. So if you missed that one, make sure you go back and watch it. So the Southeast Collision Conference was a huge hit. It was a 2-day event. And I'm telling you guys, the interviews that I've been doing have been amazing, giving people a sneak peek at what they either missed or maybe some of them were there. People were there and listening to the podcast and getting like a refresher of what it was they heard there. So kudos to all of you guys for an amazing event. And big thanks to Josh and Kyle for helping me do all of this for the podcast. So thank you guys both so much for handling all that. Yeah, you're just going to be quiet. You're shy now.
No problem. Happy to do it.
You're welcome.
Yes, thanks. Thanks, guys. So I wanted to ask the committee, because when I'm sure a conference of this size took a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of details, and it ended up being really awesome. And I'm sure you have ideas for next year. So do you want to talk about like some things you might want to do for next year to make it different? One of like your favorite takeaways, something along those lines. And we'll let ladies go first. Jordan.
Generous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Mickey. Thanks for having us on. And I think that for us, we've come out of the event. We're all really excited about how it went in our first collaboration together as associations. And I think that there was so many good things that we just intend to repeat. I think that there were a lot of aspects from it that are not just our volunteers had, kind of a behind the scenes view into, but also like the feedback that we had from conversations after, especially with our repairer attendees and also even with our vendors, what went well, what they liked the most. So we definitely know that we want to have those very intentional, really great in-depth presentations from industry knowledgeable experts that can come in from even outside of the marketplace that we're in here regionally, that we believe that that's one of the really big, strong aspects of the conference, as well as even just the intentionality of how we laid out the show, making sure that attendees had the time on the floor and their ability to meet and greet with as many vendors as possible, spend some time there, and then go back into an education environment, which a lot were interactive. So I think one of the things, and I know Josh is keen on this, is upping our interactive game, is being able to have more interactive, more hands-on, more dialogue experiences for attendees. Right. So I think that would be one aspect I would add, because I know we have a lot of panelists here, but I think that that's one thing, if I were to say we could up our game on, would be that one.
Yeah. And for those of you guys don't know Jordan, she's the executive director of what is lovingly known as WAMBA. And I'm like, what? It's Washington Metro Auto Body Association. So I'll kick it over to you, Josh, because Josh, you run this pretty much by yourself for the last couple of years. And now this year having an expanded group, bringing in WAMBA. Josh is the executive director of the Carolinas Collision Association, which is an amazing association doing so much for the industry. So Josh, kudos to you for your hard work over all these years, putting this thing together. I know it was a big step forward now bringing WAMBA in. What do you feel like was your big takeaway from the event, besides needing to go on a cruise to the Bahamas the day after?
Just bringing the two groups together to watch these shops from different states interact. We had a lot of similar speakers that we've had in previous years, but we had a lot of new ones too.
Yeah.
Lots of really good topics, from how to make money in your shop to, the new EV revolution and how to prepare for that. So I thought that stuff was really important. I feel like we brought the type of education that shops need today and not later. We went up with booth sizes this year. So that was pretty awesome to see, because in previous years, they haven't been able to, turn on the welders or practice welding at the event. So having that aspect this year was really cool. It was like going to SEMA or going to the Northeast and watching, these guys be interactive at their booths. So I thought that was really special and really cool and something different this year. I thought bringing in the Lucid and the Rivian vehicle was really, really cool. Lucid, that vehicle was really sticking out. A lot of people were playing with that. So
yeah,
I thought that was, that was really cool about our event. Certain things we got rid of, which I thought was for the better, less stress, if you will. But I think overall, it was just a really fun experience. And watching the first timers come to the event. I know Virginia, they've never done anything there before. So to watch all those shops come out, find out more about WAMBA, be able to interact with some of the leaders of the industry, I thought was really cool. So to me, that's the highlight for me.
Yeah. Good point is expanding it. So allowing the reach to be further. Because really at the end of the day, this is for the shops, right? And helping them. So the bigger and greater it can be, the more people we can impact. So I think that's a really good point. So I'm going to kick it over to Kyle. So Kyle's the president of the Carolinas Collision Association. He also works with K&M Collision. What's up, Kyle?
How you doing?
Great. So what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, first, Mickey, thanks for having us on here.
Yeah.
And it's a cool opportunity to me to go ahead and recognize all the work that, we are a committee, but for all intents and purposes, Josh and Jordan are really the ones that did the event, right? Like they're the ones that probably wanted to kill each other daily and put in all the work. So I just want to take a second to recognize them for all the hard work that they put in to make the event as successful as it is. I think, when I'm looking at it, you always tend to compare things year over year, right? So comparing last year to this year, and then obviously, just like our businesses ourselves, we continually want to grow and get better. And I feel like we did that. We're able to provide something for our region that I don't think has ever been done before. And if it has, it was well before I was involved in the industry. So it may have well been ages ago, right? So
rub it in, Kyle.
Easy. But so I think, for me, the biggest and probably the most important piece of it is just the communal aspect of it. It's, so often repairs are isolated or feel like they're the only ones doing X, Y, and Z, or they're the only ones that are experiencing these issues. And when we're able to really get, all of the key players in the room and provide, really high level education, provide, access to equipment vendors all in one room, to where if somebody is, let's say they are in the market for equipment, well, now they're not having to waste, days and hours of their lives. They're able to experience all this, demo all of it right there, all in one room. And then the same deal with education. You're able to really take away a lot of nuggets and take it back to your shop. And Jordan said something at our award dinner on Thursday, which, by the way, for those of you listening, is awesome. Like, that's probably my favorite thing that we do. But she talked about a revival in the industry. And that was really from the feedback I've heard from shop owners. It's like, wow, man, I wish I would have known this was going to be like this. I would have brought my whole staff. And there were people that came last year that literally shut their shop down for a day or 2 days to bring their people to it. And so they're realizing the importance of it. And I just think it's a great opportunity. You know, I'm really big on giving back to the industry and giving back to others. And I think it's a really cool thing to see like shop owners and managers like really want to give back to their people and invest in their people in that way. And so we can continue to grow that and continue to provide that at the level that we're doing. Like I'm already excited for next year. But I know we need to reflect back on this year, but it was truly a phenomenal event. I'm just happy to be a small part of it.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I actually talked with I had 2 attendees that I talked to that were actually at the event. And both of those attendees brought their teams and were so pumped to have the team there. And every team member got stuff out of it. So oftentimes we go to events, you know, being a former shop owner, and I go because I'm the owner. And then I go back and I have to relay all this information. And it's like, and I can only intake so much. And I'm looking at it from my own perspective. So being able to bring a team, so much more powerful if you're able to do that. So I definitely would encourage shops for next year, bring your teams if you can. Speaking of teams, John Shoemaker, BDM over at BASF, had a team of people in his class. And I like to call John the Reverend because he was preaching on the interview that he did with me from the Southeast Collision Conference. You're going to have to go back and watch it. We talk about labor rates and labor types. And if you didn't watch it yet, go find it. John, I didn't know that you were actually on the committee. So I was excited when I heard that you were part of this whole planning thing.
Yeah, you know, I think there's people with a lasso somewhere and they just keep roping me into these things. You know. But,
there you go.
It was a good time. We had, you know, it was an adventure and I think we did good. You know, my class, you know, I don't know, there's 60 some people in it from 7 states.
Wow.
You know, and we called it, you know, WAMBA in Carolina, but there was people in there from Philadelphia, you know, West Virginia, Maryland, both the Carolinas, Virginia. It was a good deal. And I kind of tag on what Jordan said a little bit earlier is I think we were giving the people what they needed. I mean, we offered some, what I call grassroots training, you know, stuff that they could take tidbits of and grab hold of and take back and put in place in their business the next day.
Right.
You know, they didn't have to go buy a program. They didn't have to do a lot of research, make any investments. They were able to take what we were giving them and apply it almost immediately. You know, and I know our BASF team that we had there had a great time interacting with people, and we had a couple that were calling, you know, their customers in Virginia and in Western Maryland said, hey, you know, when we don't see you here today, we should see you here tomorrow, you know, because this is good. And they, you know, one was even taking kind of a video of the people that were on there and sending it to customers, you know, and say, you're missing something.
Wow.
So come on and let's do it. But we had a great time. Everybody I talked to, vendors, attendees, coworkers, and what I call peers, you know, with Kyle and Mike, and it all worked.
Yeah.
It just all worked. And we gave people what they wanted, what they needed.
Right.
And they were absorbing it. They were eager to get it.
Yeah, agreed. From everything I've heard, I 100% agree with that statement.
And the line out the front door, you know.
Yes, I heard about that too.
You know, and I was saying, you know, that's just how many people wanted to come in and see what was going on and didn't want to miss anything. So they were there early.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Well, and again, it's a testament to what Josh built over the last couple of years to build a foundation to launch off of now for the next expansion, next level of growth. So super cool. Super cool. So Phil Rice is the GM at Huber Collision. Hi, Phil. He's out there in the middle of, Phil looks like he's out in Montana on Yellowstone Ranch.
Oh, how I wish. Mickey, it truly was a great event. And to kind of piggyback on what you just said, Josh and the Carolina Association have done a wonderful job getting this trade show off the ground. I think what we've done together has further solidified the fact that none of us are as great individually as we are collectively as a group.
Love that.
And so, obviously the morals and values of the Collision Association and the morals and values of WAMBA intertwine very similar. And what we were able to do is to bring people, as John said, what they need. And to what Jordan said, we saw so many eyes that opened up on the floor. We saw techs that were interacting with different vendors. We saw business owners that were pricing out materials and products that they didn't have time to go shopping for, if you will, from the shop floor. And it just seemed to really fit a need that the industry had. And then we bring them into an environment and we talk to everybody on their level. We present everything on their level. There was nothing that was over the moon. We didn't want to make anybody feel less adequate. We wanted to let them know the importance of this network event that we've created. It's paramount as we move forward in the repair industry, that if we don't work together, we're going to find ourselves on an island.
Right.
And what a great opportunity to network.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people that come on the podcast talk about just that, Phil, is the power of networking. If you think you can do it on your own anymore, you could back in the day, you could. And now you really need to surround yourself with people, like-minded people, other shop owners, learn from them, learn from the best of the best. And what a great way to do it.
I call it the BSF method. Bond, share, and steal shamelessly.
I like it.
If there's no need for me to reinvent the wheel, if through my networking, I've realized that Kyle or Brian have figured something out at their shop and they can help me better understand that, and then I can implement a portion of what they've done, I want to be grateful for that. And I want to give them all the credit for that. But it wouldn't be possible without the networking.
Right. Yeah, that's really well said. Thank you. Well, last but not least, we have Brian, who's all about Murica. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see the background. So Brian actually is the owner of Bodyworks, but he was the original founder of the Carolinas Collision Association and past president. So super excited to meet you, Brian. I had not met you before. Actually, we did meet briefly while I was getting my hair done a couple weeks ago via Zoom.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out, Kyle and I were figuring out the camera was going to work right, or how we're going to set up the table and how all that was. So it's wonderful to meet you, Mickey. I've watched a lot of your podcasts, so I think what you're doing for the industry is great. And
thank you.
I would just piggyback on we appreciate, and I think we're all grateful that you're having us, and we're grateful to be part of it. And just think the event was a great turnout. I kind of off a little bit this time. I know in the past, as we built this thing from scratch, and we didn't do it on our own, there's been a lot of people that helped. And, I remember years ago calling Jordan and saying, hey, what do we do? How do I put this thing together? I mean, do we do a C or what do we do? So, I mean, Jordan and, Aaron Schillenberger and everybody in the industry as a whole, Mike Anderson, just everybody's been so helpful to get us to this point. And to look back 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago now, and fast forward to where we are right now, I think is a testament to everybody on this committee, but so many other people behind the scenes that get to this point. And no doubt there's a ton of momentum going. That's one of the takeaways I got from the event, is the momentum that the association has and how much potential we still have in the Southeast. And I think the Southeast Collision Conference is just something that's a big part of the U.S. that just is behind the curve a little bit and not had the opportunities to have events like this and people. So I guess the takeaways that I had, what I really enjoyed is I really like going there and meeting people and helping them and giving them a card and talking about a situation and saying, hey, you're not by yourself. So I know too that, if things happen to me, I've got other shops and people I can call and count on. And, on this line by myself. So that's something that I enjoy a lot. The awards dinner, I think that is always great. I had my girl here, Christine, and she's a CSR. She won the service award. And
nice.
Like I said at the event, and she spoke and said some nice things, but we need more women in the industry. And I think there's a lot of great opportunity for women that we're not taking advantage of. And I think sometimes getting out and getting the families to come and a bunch of different people, it gives everybody opportunity to see those things. So,
the exposure.
Yeah, it's great. We got a lot of small steps and big wins. And I think everybody that gives, really cares about the industry. So, I mean, those are the big takeaways for me. And then, of course, I'm the denim hat guy now. Jordan nicknamed me. She's pulling funny jokes, and I'm seeing my hat pop up in all these odd places now. I don't know where my hat is going to show up next, which I'm grateful for that too, because it's always fun. She just pops up, and there's my hat. It's like,
watch out,
is he in it or not? And I'm a little slow, so it takes me a minute. It's like, all right, is he going to see the hat or not? So, but yeah, I thought the event was great, and I think it's definitely a foundation that we can build from. And everybody in the industry just getting together and pooling resources, and then 2 weeks later, I'll get a phone call from somebody that show and say, "Hey, how did you do this? What did you do?" And to me, that's the fun part, is getting to help people kind of wake up and join your business, because I think a lot of people will get scared of that. That hey, if I do this, am I going to get trouble? What do you do? So I think there's a lot of value in that too.
Yeah. Well, all in all, you guys put together an amazing conference. Like I said, if today's the first episode you're listening to of this podcast about the Southeast Collision Conference, you need to go back and watch the interviews. They've been incredible. They're short, like 15 to 20 minutes usually. Everybody from Mark Olson, Mike Anderson, the Reverend John Shoemaker. I mean, we've got all kinds of great speakers. Attendees talk about their takeaways, which was really powerful to hear from shops of what they find valuable that they're going to go implement. So thank you guys all for putting together such a great event. Appreciate all of you. And I know the shops and everybody out there is super thankful for another way to get together, to be better, to build off of. And Josh is waving his little finger over there. What's up, Joshua?
I want to throw something in there. If other associations are watching this, I really encourage you guys, because I didn't bring this up, and one of my favorite parts of the show is the award show. Just like Kyle mentioned, Brian mentioned, and I know it was the first time for WAMBA with regards to giving out awards to their shops and board members. And Jordan gave a really touching speech on one of her shops that won Shop of the Year, and John Shoemaker got board member of the year, and then of course we gave our awards as well. And I would encourage other associations to start something like this. I would really encourage them to start highlighting the men and women that work in the shops that do the physical demanding labor. We give out awards to the detailer, to the painter, to manager, technician, repair planner, manager. So I would really encourage that they look into that and possibly, start something like that, because I think at first some people don't, they're kind of unsure, but when you see them up on stage winning that award, they're tongue-tied. And most of our winners, I can't speak for Jordan's winners, had no clue. They had no clue. They thought their owner was just inviting them to the event. And they were completely shocked. And so to me, that's the highlight of the event for me. And I'm pretty sure that everyone would, kind of give the same sentiments. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's really beautiful. Well, last year, Laura Gay she and I went live. She was there in attendance, and she had us live on LinkedIn, I think it was. And I was with her, and we got to see some of the people getting awards last year. And you could see how moved they were and surprised. And I was watching like, oh my gosh, I'm getting choked up and I'm not even in the room. Like, how amazing is that? So that is really cool. It makes me happy that you surprised them. I love a good surprise. And I also agree with what you say is for other associations to start doing this. So if they wanted to start doing it, where would they begin? Maybe call Josh and Jordan? Would that be the good first step? What do you think, Josh?
I mean, they can. My phone's always open for people, and I'm sure I can't speak for Jordan, but I'm pretty sure her phone's always open. So
yeah,
true.
I love that.
It was easy for us as first timers to follow in the footsteps of CCA given the format. So it's not a complicated format. It's very simple. it's just a matter of like, letting people have the opportunity to, nominate their people and then so it's just a matter of logistics. But at the end of the day, it's super simple, especially if you already have an annual meeting or something like that. It's really easy to add. I thought it was pretty easy, but it does have a huge impact. I mean, like Josh said, they didn't know it was coming. And for us that knew, it was even more fun, I think, than those who got surprised. They probably realized the weight and gravity afterwards, after the moment, whereas we knew the weight and gravity of it going in. So, I do think that is something that even if we were to never have another trade show again, I think we have no choice but to continue honoring those in our industry because no one else is doing the same, right? And in your own shop, it's an echo chamber, but showing the entire industry how you feel about an employee is a really big deal.
Totally. That's so cool. Well, thank you guys for coming on with me. It's just a short one today, but I appreciate all of your time. I appreciate everything that you guys did. I get thanks to Josh and Kyle for babysitting me virtually and helping me roll out all these podcasts. And I really hope that you guys register for next year. Do we have a date for next year?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Coming out soon, though.
So stay tuned.
That's right.
Mark it on your calendar when it comes out and then make sure that you're there. And for all of you guys that were there, feel free to mark in the comments like what your favorite takeaway was or something that you think would be great if you didn't see it this past year that you see it next year, because obviously, we're always open to being better and doing better. So thank you all for coming on. Thank you guys all for watching, especially for watching this series. And thank you to Lombard Equipment for being this amazing sponsor. They are servicing Maine to Miami, selling new and refurbished equipment. Not only do they sell you equipment, but they come to your shop and do training on that equipment in your shop. So give them a call if you're interested in equipment. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed today's show, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We have some incredible topics and guests coming your way you will not want to miss. If you are watching on YouTube and don't want to miss the latest and greatest, you'll want to hit the bell after subscribing, so you will get a pop-up each time a video podcast goes live. To our devoted fans, would you mind paying it forward and sharing this little gem with someone else you think may benefit from it? Much love from all of us here at Body Bangin', all things auto body.